The wedding was supposed to be perfect. White roses, a string quartet, 200 guests in their finest suits and dresses. The groom, Michael Carter, stood at the altar smiling, until the bride, Sarah Bennett, walked toward him. Her veil hid her face, but everyone could see her hands shaking. The music stopped. The room went quiet. Then Sarah pulled back the veil. Her eyes were red. Before Michael could say a word, she slapped him. Hard. The sound echoed. A glass slipped from someone's hand and shattered. Gasps filled the room. Michael touched his cheek, stunned. "Sarah, what the hell?" She threw her bouquet at him. "You ruined my life," she said, her voice low and sharp. "Now I'm ruining yours." The guests froze. No one moved. No one even breathed. Then Sarah turned and walked out. The doors slammed behind her. And that's when the real story began. Lena Parker wasn't always like this. 6 months ago, she was planning her wedding. The dress was picked, the venue booked, the invitations sent. David Miller, her fiancé of 3 years, had promised her forever. Then everything changed on a Tuesday afternoon. She came home early from work with his favorite takeout. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. She called David's name. No answer. Then she heard a noise from the bedroom. The door was slightly open. Inside, David was in bed with Jessica, her Jessica, the maid of honor, the one who'd helped pick out Lena's wedding dress. David jumped up. "Lena, wait." She didn't wait. The takeout hit the floor. The door slammed. That night, David sent texts. "It was a mistake. We can fix this." Jessica called 12 times. Lena blocked them both. 2 weeks later, the wedding was canceled. 3 weeks after that, David and Jessica were engaged. The invitations went out with the same date, same venue, just a different bride. Lena sold her dress online. She packed her things. And she started making a new plan. Not to move on, to make sure David regretted ever crossing her. Because some people don't learn with words. They only learn when their whole world burns down around them. And Lena was ready to light the match. The annual Children's Hospital Gala was the last place anyone expected to find Lena Parker. She'd never donated before, never even attended, but she knew one thing. David's older brother Daniel would be there. The successful one, the responsible one, the brother David had spent their entire relationship complaining about. Lena arrived in a dress that cost half her monthly salary. She spotted Daniel Miller across the room, surrounded by donors. Taller than David, better posture, more expensive watch. She waited until he stepped away to get a drink. "Vodka soda with lime," she said beside him at the bar. "Just like my ex used to order." Daniel turned. "That's oddly specific." Lena shrugged. "Bad breakup. You know how it is." "I don't, actually." "Lucky you." She extended her hand. Lena Parker. Daniel Miller. His grip was firm. "So what brings you here, Lena Parker?" "Trying to do some good in the world." She sipped her drink. "You?" "Board member." He glanced at her empty left ring finger. "That ex must have been an idiot." Lena laughed. "You have no idea." She let him buy her a second drink, then a third. When he mentioned his company's upcoming fundraiser, she, coincidentally, volunteered to help. When he talked about his love of sailing, she just happened to have taken lessons. At the end of the night, Daniel handed her his card. "Call me about that fundraiser." Lena smiled. "I definitely will." As his car pulled away, she pulled out her phone. In her notes app was a checklist. Meet Daniel, get his interest, make him fall for her. Pending. She opened a photo of David and Jessica's wedding invitation. 3 months away, plenty of time. Lena hailed a cab. The trap was set. Now she just had to wait for Daniel Miller to walk right into it. Lena showed up to Daniel's office exactly on time for their fundraiser meeting. She wore a navy blue dress, professional but just fitted enough to make Daniel look twice. His assistant led her into a corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Chicago. "You came," Daniel said, standing up from his desk. "I keep my promises," Lena replied, setting down a folder. "I pulled some strings with my old PR firm. Got us media coverage for the event." Daniel flipped through her materials. "This is impressive. Don't sound so surprised." He laughed. "Fair enough. Lunch?" They ate at a small Italian place around the corner. Lena ordered the same dish Daniel did without looking at the menu. "You knew I'd get the lasagna," he noted. She shrugged. "Lucky guess." Over the next 3 weeks, they met every Tuesday and Thursday to plan the fundraiser. Lena always arrived early. She remembered his coffee order, black with 1 sugar. She laughed at his dry jokes. She, accidentally, brushed her hand against his when passing documents. One rainy afternoon, Daniel walked her to her car. "You're different than I expected," he said. "How so?" "Most people want something from me. You just help." Lena smiled and tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "Maybe I like your company." A car honked nearby, breaking the moment. Daniel opened her door. "Dinner tomorrow?" "Not for work." "I'd like that," Lena said. As she drove away, she checked her reflection in the rearview mirror. Her smile faded. She pulled out her phone and opened the Notes app. Daniel Miller. Favorite food: Italian coffee, black, 1 sugar. Hates dishonesty. Soft spot: kids with cancer. She scrolled up to another note titled David, with a nearly identical list. The only difference was the last line: "Will destroy him through Daniel." The fundraiser was in 2 weeks, the wedding in 6, right on schedule. Lena merged onto the highway, humming along with the radio. Everything was going exactly according to plan, or so she thought. The courthouse wedding was simple. No flowers, no guests, just Lena in a cream-colored suit and Daniel in his best navy blue tie. The judge said the words. They said, "I do." Rings were exchanged. Papers were signed. As they walked down the courthouse steps, Daniel squeezed Lena's hand. "We should celebrate." Lena checked her watch. "I have a better idea." She led him to a restaurant 2 blocks away, the same place David had proposed to Jessica 3 months earlier. The hostess seated them at the best table in the house. Halfway through their appetizers, the door opened. David and Jessica walked in. David froze when he saw them. "What the hell?" Daniel stood up. "David, good to see you." Lena stayed seated, swirling her wine glass. "Hello, David. Jessica, what a coincidence." Jessica's mouth hung open. "You're married?" Daniel put his hand on Lena's shoulder. "This morning." David's face turned red. "You're joking." Lena took a slow sip of wine. "The paperwork's in my purse if you want proof." David grabbed Jessica's arm. "We're leaving." As they stormed out, Lena caught David's final glare. The same look he'd given her when she walked in on him with Jessica. Daniel sat back down. That was unexpected. Lena cut into her steak. Small world. That night, Lena checked her phone. 23 missed calls from David, 12 texts. She blocked his number. In her closet behind her shoes sat a small box. Inside was David and Jessica's wedding invitation. Lena ran her finger over the date, 3 weeks away. She opened her Notes app. Phase 1, complete. Phase 2, begin. The real work was just starting. The company picnic should have been simple. Daniel's firm rented out the entire lakeside park. White tents, barbecue grills, families playing games. Lena wore a sundress and sunglasses, playing the perfect new wife. She was refilling her lemonade when she heard the shouting behind the dessert table. "You stupid bitch," David's voice carried across the grass. "I told you not to talk to him." Lena turned just in time to see David grab Jessica's wrist hard enough to make her wince. Jessica tried to pull away, but David yanked her closer, hissing something in her ear that made her face go pale. Daniel started moving toward them. Lena got there first. "Problem?" Lena stepped between them. David dropped Jessica's arm like it burned him. "This doesn't concern you." Jessica rubbed her wrist. "It's fine, really." "It's not fine." Lena kept her voice low. "You don't treat people like that." David's laugh was ugly. "Coming from you? That's rich." Daniel arrived then, clapping David on the shoulder too hard. "Everything okay here?" David shook him off. "Just a marital disagreement." As Daniel led David away, Lena watched Jessica straighten her blouse with shaking hands, the way she forced a smile, the way she kept her voice light when she said, "Really, it's nothing." Lena had seen that look before, in her own mirror, after every fight with David, every time she'd made excuses for him. Back at their table, Daniel squeezed Lena's hand. "You okay?" "Fine." She pulled her hand away to grab her purse. "I need the restroom." In the stall, Lena took deep breaths. This wasn't part of the plan. She wasn't supposed to feel anything, especially not for Jessica. Her phone buzzed. A calendar reminder. David's wedding, 2 weeks. Lena splashed water on her face. The plan was working. David was miserable. She should be happy. But all she could see was Jessica's frightened eyes, and the sickening realization that maybe David hadn't changed at all. Maybe he'd always been this person. And maybe Lena was becoming someone she didn't recognize either. She walked back to the picnic, past the happy families, past Daniel waiting with a concerned look, straight to the parking lot. For the first time since this began, Lena wasn't sure she could go through with it. But it might already be too late to stop. The hotel room was too quiet. Lena had left her laptop open on the desk when she went to shower. The screen still showed her private journal, every detail of her plan laid out in bullet points. Goal: destroy David through Daniel. Step 1. Marry Daniel. Step 2. Gain control of family assets. Step 3. Humiliate David at his wedding. David stood frozen in the doorway, housekeeping keycard in hand. He'd only come to return Daniel's forgotten briefcase. Now he was staring at proof this whole marriage was a lie. His fingers flew across the trackpad. Screenshots, email attachments. Send. By the time Lena stepped out of the bathroom in a cloud of steam, David was gone. Her laptop was closed. Nothing seemed out of place. Downstairs in the lobby, David texted Daniel, "Check your email. You'll want to see this." Daniel was in a board meeting when the notification popped up. He excused himself to the hallway. The more he read, the tighter his grip on the phone became. Dates, plans, even notes about his habits, his preferences, all cataloged like research. He scrolled to the most recent entry. Daniel might actually be a good person. Doesn't change the plan. Back in the hotel room, Lena's phone buzzed. Daniel's name flashed on the screen. She answered with a smile in her voice. "Hey, I was just thinking about you. Pack your things." Daniel's voice was flat. "I know everything." The line went dead. Lena stood very still. Then she opened her laptop. The last access time was 9 minutes ago, right when she'd been in the shower. She checked her sent emails. Nothing. But David had been here yesterday to drop off contracts. He had access to the building. The pieces clicked together just as her phone buzzed again. This time it was Jessica. "Whatever you're doing, you need to stop. David just left here like a man possessed." Lena looked around the hotel room. The clothes in the closet, the toiletries in the bathroom, the wedding ring on the nightstand. All props in a play that just ended. Somewhere in the city, Daniel was reading her words. David was probably celebrating. And Lena? She had exactly 23 minutes before Daniel got home. 23 minutes to decide whether to run or face what she'd done. The clock was ticking. The front door slammed hard enough to rattle the pictures on the walls. Lena sat perfectly still on the living room couch, hands folded in her lap. She'd changed into jeans and a t-shirt. No more dresses Daniel liked. No more pretending. Daniel threw his keys on the counter. The email was still open on his phone. He didn't sit down. "Start talking." Lena kept her voice steady. "What did David show you?" "Everything." Daniel pulled up the screenshots. This whole marriage was a setup. All those coincidental meetings, the shared interests, even the way you took your coffee. He scrolled through the notes. "You studied me like a damn project." Lena didn't deny it. At first, Daniel laughed without humor. "There's an entry from yesterday. Phase 2 nearly complete." The grandfather clock in the hallway ticked loudly. Lena watched Daniel pace, his dress shoes clicking against the hardwood. Was any of it real? Daniel stopped in front of her. Even a little? Lena thought about the picnic, how she'd stepped between David and Jessica without thinking, how Daniel had looked at her afterward, not with suspicion, but concern. "Some of it became real," she said. Daniel's jaw tightened. He walked to the window, staring out at the city. "You know what kills me? I actually thought you were different." Lena stood up. "I am different. The woman who wrote those notes, that's not me anymore. Prove it." Daniel turned around. "Tell me right now what you were planning to do at David's wedding." The air conditioning kicked on. Somewhere outside, a car alarm blared. Lena opened her mouth, then closed it. Daniel nodded like he'd gotten his answer. "Get out." "Daniel, I said get out." His voice cracked. "Before I call the cops and have you removed from my property." Lena walked to the bedroom. She took only what she'd brought with her, an old duffel bag with a few clothes, her laptop, the wallet she'd had before they met. The wedding ring stayed on the dresser. Daniel was still by the window when she came back through. He didn't look at her. Lena paused at the door. "For what it's worth, I'm sorry." The only response was the sound of the door locking behind her. Out in the hallway, Lena's phone buzzed. "David, told you you'd regret this." She deleted the message. The elevator doors opened. Closed. Somewhere below, the city kept moving. The plan was over. The revenge was done. And for the first time since this began, Lena had no idea what came next. The rain started just as Lena reached the bus station. She bought a ticket to nowhere in particular, just the next city leaving soonest, Chicago to St. Louis. One way, her phone buzzed constantly in her pocket. Daniel's lawyer, David's taunts. Even Jessica, surprisingly, asking if she was okay. She turned it off after the third call from an unknown number. The bus smelled like stale chips and disinfectant. Lena took a window seat near the back, watching the city blur through streaked glass. The skyscrapers where Daniel worked, the restaurants they'd gone to, the park where she'd seen David grab Jessica's arm. A man in a wrinkled suit sat down next to her. Bad day? Lena turned away. You could say that. The bus engine rumbled to life. As they pulled out of the station, Lena's fingers tapped against her knee. She should feel something. Anger, regret, relief. Instead, there was just static. 3 rows up, a teenager laughed too loud at something on his phone. The sound grated. Lena reached into her bag for headphones and her fingers brushed against paper. She pulled out a folded envelope with her name on it, Daniel's handwriting. Inside was a single sheet of paper and a check for $50,000. The note was short. I checked the dates. You didn't take anything that wasn't yours. This is your half of the fundraiser money. Don't contact me again. Lena stared at the numbers. It was more than she'd expected, more than she deserved. The bus hit a pothole, jolting her against the window. Outside, the city limits sign whipped past. Her phone stayed off. The check stayed in her hand. And as the miles stretched between her and everything she'd planned, Lena realized something unsettling. She missed Daniel. Not the plan. Not the revenge. Just him. The bus rolled on through the rain. Somewhere behind her, a wedding was happening. A marriage was ending. A brother was gloating. And Lena? She was finally free. Just not in the way she'd expected. 6 months later, Lena stood outside Daniel's office building for the first time since she left. The Chicago wind cut through her jacket. She checked the envelope in her bag for the 10th time. The signed paperwork returning every share, every dollar she'd gained from their marriage. The receptionist didn't recognize her. Do you have an appointment with Mr. Miller? No, Lena said, but he'll want to see me. She waited in the lobby for 43 minutes. Just when she thought Daniel might refuse, the elevator doors opened. He looked older, new lines around his eyes, his hair shorter, still wore the same cologne. Lena. He didn't smile. She held out the envelope. I came to give these back. Daniel didn't take it. Why now? Because it was never about the money. A group of lawyers walked past, eyeing them curiously. Daniel motioned toward a private conference room. The glass walls turned opaque at the touch of a button. Lena placed the documents on the table. Everything signed. The shares, the fundraiser money, even the apartment contents. All yours. Daniel flipped through the pages. You kept tabs, knew I'd be here today. Old habits. He set the papers down. David's divorced. Lena blinked. Jessica? Left him 2 months ago, took half his assets. Daniel studied her face. That was your endgame, wasn't it? To ruin him? At first, Lena met his eyes. Then I realized I was becoming exactly what he made me hate. The HVAC system hummed. Somewhere outside, a car horn blared. Daniel pushed the envelope back across the table. Keep them. I can't stay. His voice was quiet. In Chicago, the shares are yours either way, but if you want, we could try coffee sometime. No plans, no games. Lena's fingers trembled against the envelope. After everything. Because of everything. Daniel opened the door. Think about it. He walked out, leaving the documents behind. Lena stood there, staring at the unsigned papers. The unaccepted apology. The second chance she never saw coming. Outside the window, the city stretched on, full of people who'd been hurt, who'd hurt others who kept trying anyway. She picked up the envelope, walked to the elevator, pressed the button for the ground floor. And for the first time in a long time, Lena Parker didn't know what came next. And that was okay. The coffee shop was the same one where they'd met to plan the fundraiser all those months ago. Same scratched wooden tables, same bitter espresso smell, same barista who nodded at them like they'd never left. Lena arrived first this time. She wore no makeup, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail. The envelope with the shares paperwork sat between her elbows on the table. Daniel came in 5 minutes late, slightly out of breath. Sorry, meeting ran over. No problem. She pushed a coffee toward him. Black, 1 sugar. He paused before taking it. You remembered. They talked about nothing first. The unseasonably warm winter, the new restaurant opening downtown, the traffic on Lakeshore Drive, safe topics, neutral ground. After the coffee was half gone, Daniel tapped the envelope. You still want to give these back? Lena shook her head. But I don't want them like before. What do you want, Lena? She turned her cup slowly. To apologize properly. For using you. For lying. For not realizing what I had until it was gone. Daniel was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached into his pocket and placed something small and metallic on the table. Lena's wedding ring. I kept it, he said. Not sure why. Outside, a bus rumbled past. A baby cried at the next table. The espresso machine hissed. Lena picked up the ring, held it between her thumb and forefinger. The gold caught the light. Daniel didn't move, didn't speak, just waited. Slowly, Lena slid the ring back onto her finger. It fit like it never left. Daniel exhaled for what felt like the first time all morning. He reached across the table. Their hands met over the unsigned papers. His grip was warm, familiar. No dramatic speeches, no grand gestures, just 2 people who'd been through hell choosing to try again. The barista called out an order. The door jingled open. Life went on around them. And in that ordinary coffee shop, with the winter sun streaming through the windows, something extraordinary began. A second chance neither saw coming. The story wasn't perfect, but it was real. And sometimes, that's enough. Lena's quest for revenge began with a shattered heart, but ended with an unexpected choice. She set out to destroy a man, only to discover the cost of becoming the very thing she hated. In the ashes of her plan, she found something unexpected. A chance to walk away from the cycle of pain. Daniel, the man she was supposed to use, became the one who showed her mercy when she least deserved it. And in that mercy, Lena faced the hardest truth of all. Real change isn't about punishing the past, but choosing a better future. The story leaves us wondering, can love grow from lies? Can revenge ever really heal a wound? Some questions don't have clean answers. But sometimes the most powerful ending isn't an explosion. It's a quiet decision, a hand held out, a ring put back on, a broken person choosing, despite everything, to try again. Because in the end, the best revenge isn't destruction, it's living well. And Lena? She's finally free to find out what that means. Was Lena right to walk away, or should she have finished her revenge? Comment below. Team Daniel or Team Revenge? Who would you have chosen? Smash that like button if this story gripped you. Turn on notifications. You won't want to miss our next twisted tale. Share this with someone who's ever been betrayed. What would you have done? Your voice matters. Drop your theories. Did Daniel truly forgive her, or was this another game? Let's debate in the comments.